I'm Captain Logan, and welcome to the Endless and Labyrinthian Comic Book Vault. Today we're going to take a look at the final volume of No Man's Land. This is another volume where the art kind of jumps around. I don't care for the way the Joker is drawn in this at all. Finally we get the Joker, Joker's big plot. He's only appeared a couple times before this, and we've been kind of wondering what he's been up to. In Volume 4, he tries to draw out Batman, and Batman won't hear of it and never shows up, won't walk into his trap. So finally he does something crazy here that forces Batman to come to him. Again, as I said before, I'm going to give total spoilers on this. This is as much about giving people an idea about what happens in No Man's Land as it is letting you, as it is giving you my personal opinion. So, I'm going to tell you exactly how this ends. Basically, the Joker, finally, his big, giant plot at the end is to steal all the new babies in Gotham. I think it says 43 babies are born in Gotham, and Joker decides to steal them all to force Batman out. And really, it's never explained exactly why he wants to do this, other than just wreak havoc and do crazy stuff now that No Man's Land has been declared no longer a No Man's Land. Gotham is being brought back into the United States of America because of Lex Luthor, as we were talking about last time. And Lex has done all kinds of kind of underhanded things to force the government into bringing Gotham away from No Man's Land and back into the U.S. Somebody asked in the comments, and I'm sorry I didn't write it down, I don't remember who it was, but somebody asked in the comments when I reviewed Volume 4 why I thought that Bruce Wayne didn't just do what Lex did. And the thing is, it's not, and I thought about that a little bit because that's a really good question. Keep in mind that Bruce attempted, when he was outside of No Man's Land, to get the government to change its policy on this. And I'm sure he threw money at it. I'm sure he did everything he could do, and he couldn't change their minds. And Lex has a different pool of resources. It's never entirely clear how evenly matched Bruce Wayne and Lex Luthor are in resources. However, I would gather that Lex probably has more pull politically than Bruce Wayne, and politically and really on every facet of business, because Bruce tries to look like an incompetent playboy, and so a lot of people wouldn't like him. And he I don't think that it would ever work for Bruce to run for politics or anything, and I don't think that he would want to, because it would probably compromise him as Batman. So the reason that Bruce doesn't do what Lex does is because, well, A, he probably doesn't have quite the same kinds of resources that Lex does, and B, what Lex does is illegal. No Man's Land is technically off limits. It's not part of the United States anymore, and Lex kind of forces himself in. He just lands with helicopters and says, I'm gonna kind of take this place over and build it back up, and try to force the government into changing their policy by doing that. And there's a lot of question about how legitimate this is, about why he's able to get away with this, and what people finally start saying is, well, once he's there, what's anybody going to do? He's technically on foreign soil now, and because it's no longer part of the United States. So all that's really interesting. This volume actually opens up with a flashback issue that is the very, very, very beginning of No Man's Land, and finally shows what Bruce Wayne was doing before he came back to Gotham, and shows his attempt at trying to change people's minds. And then there's even a place where he tries to, when he can't change the government's mind, there's even a place where he goes to a casino and bets a whole bunch of money and attempts to, amass even more wealth, just doing everything he can do, and nothing works. And I gotta question why this is here, because it kind of sheds some light on things that made me question character motivations earlier in the trades. And the only thing I can figure is that this is just here because it would, here instead of earlier, because if it had been earlier, it would have told us already the big mystery about who the new Batgirl was. I still question how necessary that mystery was, again, given that I found it pretty callable in that the Huntress was really the only person it possibly could have been. So, again, because she was the only, female character around who could do the things that Batgirl was doing that we had even seen in this. So anyway, it kind of shows us how the Huntress becomes the new Batgirl and why she chooses the mantle of the Bat, and all of that's really interesting and does great stuff for her character arc. Honestly, I think she's probably my favorite character in all of this. This book does great stuff for Huntress, and basically what she does is she realizes that her Huntress costume just doesn't strike the kind of fear in people that the Batsuit does. And it being No Man's Land now, she kind of needs that. So she tries the Batsuit, and she doesn't try it because she wants to impress Batman. That happens later, but she does it because people are scared of it. It freaks people out. So she starts using it. And what's really funny is I said a couple reviews ago that I was kind of making fun of Huntress for putting the bottom of the mask on, sewing that on, just in case Bruce Wayne saw her and realized who it was. And there's a scene in here where she does that. At first, she has this costume, and it doesn't have that. And the costume actually looks really cool without it. And then she puts it on there, and it's actually precisely what I said. It's her going, oh, now that Batman's back, he might notice who I am. I better put this thing on in front of my mask. So it's kind of funny that she does that. But anyway, the only thing the only thing I don't like about that part is just where it is, because it fixes a lot of the problems I had with how Huntress and Batman were both treated in this. Although I still don't think that what he did to her a couple trades ago was fair. In the third volume, where he expects her to do the impossible and then completely berates her for doing the impossible. However, when we get to the end of this, he finally kind of accepts her, and it's because she holds her ground like she was supposed to in that other trade, and takes 3 bullets from the Joker, and she nearly dies trying to protect his territory. And so all that's really good. And Batman gives her the highest praise Batman can give you, which is good work. and that was all handled really well. The really sad thing that happens is Gordon loses his wife to the Joker. The Joker kills Sarah Essen, who is trying to protect the babies, and she stands there and lets the Joker shoot her in the head rather than let these babies die. And it's really sad. It would be sadder if I had gotten to see Gordon and Essen in this together more, not just arguing about Batman and things. So yeah, the Joker just really has it out for the Gordons. He shot Barbara Gordon, and now he's killed Gordon's wife. There's this really great moment, and probably the one thing I really, really like with the Joker, because I do feel like he's kind of just shoehorned in at the end because he's the Joker, and like the big giant final climax must be a thing with the Joker, and we've been saving him all the way for this. Again, putting the other issues in, and of course reading the novel, probably helps that a lot. And I know the novel helps that a lot, to really explain why the Joker's biding his time so much. But here it really does just feel like it's just a fun story thing. It's not so much that the character has any reason to do this so much as the story doesn't want to use him till the very end. But anyway, I really like the moment where Gordon is really thinking about killing the Joker, and you have what some people are kind of tired of now, but which has to be done sometimes, which is Batman insisting on not killing the Joker because he won't kill anyone no matter how bad they are. And that's a big running theme in this with the Huntress and with Pettit and other characters, and I think is handled really well. Whether you think that Batman stories deal with that too much or not, I think it is handled quite well here. But you think maybe the Joker's going to actually get shot by Gordon, and then Gordon just shoots him in the kneecap, and at first the Joker's really surprised, and then he starts cracking up, and he says, "Oh, I get it, just like your daughter, that's really funny." And the Joker doesn't like it when other people make jokes, usually, in other things, and I thought it was a really good beat to have him respect Gordon for making what he thought was a joke, and you gotta wonder if that was Gordon being ironic or not, but I liked everything about that. one. Oh, I should also talk about Pettit at this point. So basically, the Joker goes to Pettit, and because he's got some of the babies, and remember that he and Huntress took over some territory after Pettit left Gordon because he didn't think that Gordon was going far enough, and they start their own like pseudo militia. And Pettit's been losing it more and more as time has gone on. You know, in the first trade, he was still shoot first and ask questions later, but he was going a lot further than Gordon with things. But it was seeming like his brand of justice was necessary in Gotham. And as time goes on, the No Man's Land really screws him up, and he starts wanting to kind of kill people for no good reason. We saw this with him and Two-Face in the fourth trait, which I didn't, in a section I didn't really talk about. And it's been building, and all of that's been building actually really well, even just through these trades without anything that they left out. And you get to the end of this, and he gets to where anytime he has a problem with anybody, he just pulls his gun out and trains it on him, which is never good. And it's getting close to Christmas. We know that the government has lifted the No Man's Land, and it's going to be completely lifted by the 1st of January, and so everybody's celebrating, and Pettit is keeping his territory as if nothing has changed, and is insisting that everyone stay there for this big feast he's having for Christmas, which of course they don't have very much, and he's apparently not even accepting any food or anything from Luthor or any of the government helicopters that are sending food in and stuff. And so it's not really much of a feast at all. And so what ends up happening is the Joker shows up, and Pettit won't let anybody leave, and he insists that his like main lieutenants go out and with him and fight the Joker. And of course it's all a big trap, and it's obviously a trap. And so the Joker Pettit sends his men out, and the Joker gets some of them, and then dresses them up in Joker garb, puts a wig on them and makes their face white and puts a purple coat on them, and then just sends them out, and Pettit starts shooting them. And Huntress figures out really quick what's going on and says, Pettit, you've got to stop, you're shooting your own men. And he doesn't care. He just wants to keep shooting them until he finally hits the Joker. And it's intense, and it's really sad, and the Huntress ultimately has to take him down. And especially after he kills Foley. That's the really sad part, because Foley was, and I haven't talked about Foley, but he was this other guy who agreed with Pettit all the way up until the end, and I mean, like, he was always there for him. And then finally he realizes how far over the edge Pettit's gone, and Pettit kills him, of all people, and that's when Huntress really loses it on him. But anyway, all of that is really well handled, and is really intense and really sad. This is not the best Joker stuff I've ever seen. It's not bad, and the baby kidnapping plot is a very Joker thing to do. He gets his hands on Smilex. He's using that. Of course, that's classic Joker. And the Joker Gordon exchange at the end is really strong. But like I said, I really don't like how he's drawn through most of this. His last story the last issue or two of this with the Joker, he's drawn a lot better, but there's this really cartoony stuff where he looks almost, I don't want to say abstract, but his face is a weird shape, and it's not jiving well with the rest of this. And the only other thing I really dislike is how Bane is just kind of written out, because Bane was the best part of Volume 4, and seemed to want to come in and take over the No Man's Land, and he kept saying, I'm going to be king. And that all seems to be kind of dropped when you get to this, and it seems like it's, and again, I don't know what's missing, but it seems like there's maybe maybe they thought that they could get people to think that his plan was just to get Santa Prisca instead of Gotham, but he clearly says he wants to be the king of Gotham. I don't get it. Basically, Batman comes to him, and Batman guesses what his price from Luthor was, and Lex's his price from Lex is he's going to get to rule Santa Prisca for helping facilitate getting Lex into Gotham and being kind of muscle and stuff, and that's part of why he kind of gets this reputation sometimes for being a henchman. But he says very clearly in Volume 4 when he's asked who are you working for, and at the time he doesn't know, but he says I'm letting my employer think that I'm working for him. And then in this, Batman gets him to just leave. He's like, we can either take you down, or you can just leave and get the country that you were promised. What would you prefer? Keep getting in fights with me, or leave and get the thing that you were promised? And he's like, oh, okay. And he just leaves, and it seemed like he had maybe a big master plan where he was going to let Lex think that he was working for him for a while and then ultimately take over the No Man's Land, because he seemed to like the No Man's Land. And it makes a lot of sense because you've got no government rule now. He can come in and take over. And like I said, he thought because of some stuff that happened in Nightfall that it was his birthright to get to take. Well, again, maybe he was talking about Santa Prisca, but it sure seemed like he wanted to be king of Gotham. So anyway, yeah, I didn't care for that. That was pretty anticlimactic because he seemed like he was the best villain in this, and I really hated seeing Batman not really buy him off, but just, be like, hey, you need to leave, and he's like, okay, and he leaves. But anyway, other than that, it ends really well, and like I said, I on the whole, I really, really love No Man's Land. I still, like I said, totally think that it's probably better to get the new trades and see what's missing, or to just read Greg Rucka's novelization. But if you happen to find these inexpensively, certainly the most important issues are here, but with some of the stuff that's missing, it feels a bit chopped up. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my review of the 5 parts of No Man's Land, and if you ever want to see me or Vince review anything specific, feel free to, anything you've got laying around that you don't want anymore, or that you want to see us review, just send that to our P.O. Box, and that's Geekvolution, P.O. Box 14183, Lenexa, Kansas 66285. And I'll see you tomorrow with another brand new review, and something that's not Batman this time. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Captain Logan, and happy reading.